The woman was out at sea with her friend having fun. When she accidentally lost an earring, she guessed it must have fallen into the ocean while they were taking photos. After hearing this, her friend immediately took off her dress and jumped into the water, planning to help her find it. But just a few seconds later, bubbling sounds and hot steam rose from the sea. When the woman turned around to look, the whole stretch of water was boiling like a pot on the stove. She looked down frantically, trying to find her friend, only to realize her friend had stopped moving. No matter how loudly she called out, her friend just floated motionless in the water. Everyone on the boat panicked. While they were figuring out what to do, the bottom of the boat suddenly began to crack, and the entire group sank into the sea in terror. Meanwhile, Mary from the Earthquake Monitoring Bureau noticed abnormal data on her computer. She and her colleague Jack were in charge of monitoring geological changes on a small island. In the center of this island was an active volcano, and all the land on it had been formed by past eruptions. Although the volcano had been dormant for decades, its internal activity had never actually stopped. To monitor seismic changes, Jack had purchased a batch of new instruments. But yesterday, after receiving the last bit of data, the signal cut off. To find out why, the two of them drove to the observation site. When they arrived, they found nothing unusual with the detector at the entrance, so they put on helmets and went inside the cave. Mary quickly spotted the problem. The once dry cliff walls were now leaking large amounts of water. She quickly took out a container to collect the dripping water so she could take it back for testing. They continued deeper into the cave and found a large number of dead bats inside. Jack pulled out an air detector to check the air, but everything seemed normal. They kept searching for the instruments, and when they found them, they saw they had been smashed by falling rocks. But that wasn't even the worst part. When Jack raised his flashlight toward the ceiling, he saw a huge crack running through it. Realizing the danger, the two of them immediately rushed to the volcano's summit to investigate. There they saw a crack splitting the whole mountain. They quickly began setting up instruments to analyze the fracture. At that moment, the geological center detected underground pressure building rapidly and racing toward the surface. At the same time, the data they received on site showed the crack was still expanding. Mary was on the phone reporting to the director. But before she could finish her sentence, the instruments showed the gas had already reached the surface. She didn't even have time to react before the crack suddenly spewed out a cloud of toxic white smoke.